Good enough. Hello. Welcome to the AU Core Track Connectathon kickoff. We are looking forward to our AU Core track next week um, at Melbourne Connect in near Melbourne University. So that will be running on Tuesday and Wednesday. So hopefully you've got your ticket or we'll get one soon. Um, Okay. I would like to acknowledge the and pay my respects to the uh, Indigenous peoples of the lands on which we meet, past, present, and future emerging leaders and traditional custodians of the lands. So I'm Brett Essler. I'm going to be running, be track lead for the AU Core track. Um, And we've got a few helpers noted here as well for this track from the Spark team. So they'll be helping out with collecting information and sorting people out as well for the event. Um, just I am recording this event, so this meeting. So if you do need to go back and see it, we'll be distributing this as well, so people can get to the information. Done the intros. So the track itself is about the AU Core Fire Implementation Guide from HL7 Australia and the Spark program. We are pretty much doing the same sort of testing we've done for previous events. We are now reaching AU Core R2 publishing goals. So we're at a preview stage of that release right now. So pretty much we've got all of the issues and changes from a kind of technical normative side made in the current version that's published. So it is a good opportunity to get onto AUCore R2 and test out properly. Um, so we're going to be covering, you know, that material and other breakouts and tools that are there, and just basically see if there's any other questions about what's going on. Uh, so really, Connectathons and AU Core Track as well um, is really a chance to engage with each other. We are running an AU Core 101 uh, uh, program as well, which is for introducing people into standards and AU Core. Um, so if you are coming at this event with the need to find out more about HL7 standards, how they work, and get started with something, then AU Core is a good place to start. So we'll be supporting that activity as well. And as well as that, we'll be doing our regular AU Core kind of work where we're testing out the specification, connecting with each other, and really trying to ensure that the standards we're producing are fit for purpose and suitable for people to implement in the real world. We do have a goal of particularly looking at the healthcare service profile. This was one of the newer profiles added to AU Core, and we're looking to essentially get some more usage and understanding of the usage to be able to report back on that later as well. Um, so the uh, through this process. I'll just talk about this generally. So basically, a Connectathon is a great place to get together. It's a great place to bring real tools to and your own software to test out, learn about connecting, connect with some others to test, and connect with some others to kind of make new partnerships and get to know each other. Um, to support that, we've got a set of reference services and development services that help you do that. We've got some testing tools, the AU Core Inferno test kit. We do also have uh, the opportunities to just talk about work that you're doing. So if you are developing fire IGs based on AU Core or other things like that, there's good opportunity there to connect with others and, basically a great networking opportunity. Um, just to go through the program, it's a 2-day event. So we do have um, a regular kind of kickoff to the event in total. There'll be some intros from all the tracks, and we'll get started. Um, the main work of the sessions is really for AU Core is to connect and build out things together and just talk and connect with each other. That'll be running in the track room throughout the event, basically. The AU Core connecting part of the event is really self-started and by discussing with each other, making opportunities to connect and getting to know, what systems can connect with each other, and also looking at some of the test facilities available and working with those as well. Um, as well as the main kind of connecting event activity, we are running a set of breakouts alongside the main event. Um, we have an AU Core 101 session, which is really an intro to really an intro to HL7 Australia standards and AU Core in particular. It's an opportunity to kind of get started if you haven't looked at Australian fire standards before and get some information about that. And then we're running as well in the first session and through into the second session. Michael Lawley is going to be running a getting started with a fire server implementation event. So he's going to walk through actually standing up a fire server from scratch using some of the available testing libraries and tools. So if you don't have a fire server to test or want to just learn how to do that, it's a great opportunity to do that. So it's going to be running essentially first two sessions together with the 101 information. Um, After lunch, we're also doing I'm going to also include some of the patient summary activity here. So there's another track of patient summary. So patient summary is going to be doing a bit of an investigation as to what does the handle obligation mean to them. So that's hot for them, and also patient summary hot topics in the afternoon. So that might be interesting to you if you're kind of interested in the patient summary track. And when we'll wrap up day one. So so it's pretty much an informal event. There's a lot of opportunity to talk with each other, and if you have any, you can sort of raise issues and discuss things with each other as we go. The second day of event is similar to the first. We have the AU Core connecting sessions where we're continuing our kind of work together. Uh, we're also going to be hosting a breakout for the um, Health Connect Australia provider directory. That project is one of the Australian Fire Community process projects running alongside HSF Australia work, and they are actually implementing AU Core interfacing for that project. So they're very much related to the AU Core activity. Um, as part of the work as well, we are going to really be gathering results about the connections that are going on. So we really want to identify which systems have communicated with each other, kind of what scope of communication we have, and have a uh, kind of summary of that available. Um, and yeah, so we will have some of the Spark team going around and myself to try and gather that info and get it documented. Um, in the after lunch session, we do have a breakout related to fire IG authoring. That we're still forming an agenda for that, but it will be pretty general discussion on various aspects of implementing fire implementation guides. So if you're interested in authoring fire implementation guides, it might be an interesting session. We're expecting Graham Grieve, who builds the fire implementation guide, fire publishing tools rather, the implementation guide publisher. He's going to be dialing in from Uzbekistan for the event because he happens to be away. So yeah, hopefully he'll also present some of the latest happenings around the publishing tools that we use for Fire Implementation Guide authoring. Um, After the afternoon tea, we're going on to a group photo, which we always usually get at every event to try and capture the moment. But also then we'll go into a report back session where all the tracks will report back on their work. So this has been constrained down to now we'll only have two demonstrations for AU Core. So we'll probably some of the track leads will decide who really wants to present. We have a very tight time window, so um, we will kind of be limited to only a couple of demonstrations of 5 minutes, and also have a 5 minute report out as well of just the outcomes from the event, and then we'll wrap up nice and early. Yeah, so hopefully that is all making sense. Um, so in this presentation, there's a whole set of links and information about what the tracks, what we might do in the tracks, and details about technical specifications that you need. We have the AU Core 200 preview version published now, so that's available right now. And that's is supported by AU Base publication 2, which has just come out last week. That's essentially our current version that we're interested in testing. We do have a Confluence page with all the details about the track, which I'll probably look at in a moment. And we do have a chat thread, the AU Core Zulip thread, which is a good way to communicate at the event or before the event if there's questions or that you need to find someone in the room. It's actually a good way to communicate quickly and share information as needed to do your connecting work. Yeah. So. Um, So things we recommend. So we do have some orientation videos and the like to kind of give people an idea. Um, we this is a technical implementers event. You can come and observe only, but we really are aiming this event at implementers. So bring your laptop, bring your equipment, bring your software that you want to test and play with, and yeah, there'll be an opportunity to connect. We have Wi-Fi available in the room. We don't have peer-to-peer connections or networking locally, so you'll need to have something that's online or be able to get it online with. We can probably help you out with that if you have just local services that you want to make available. But yeah, so you do bring your software, and as much as possible, if you have a development environment or something like that that you can play with, that's a really good thing to bring, and that will hopefully get you doing things that are useful to you. You can bring just client software like Postman or another kind of HTTP client that lets you connect to the existing service just to play with. So that's another option too if you kind of don't want to bring software or don't have a software available. So it's definitely the idea here though is that you're actually doing some real fire connecting. So yeah, try and be prepared. Maybe look at the spec and get familiar, even if you haven't done it before. So try and be as prepared as possible. So basically, with a core, we have the a few different a couple of different actors roles that are typically implemented, and there's also kind of a data only uh, um, uh, kind of role as well. Um, so we have an AU core responder, which is essentially a server role where you can respond to requests for information and searches and provide AU core based data to folks. So that's your typical server or facade kind of implementation. And we have an AU core requester, which is more the client client role where you can request information and receive it based on your request. We also have the idea of the profile only testing. Profile only is really where you have maybe AE core data that you want to test, or you don't really have an active API to test with. So it's basically what you really want to be able to do is ensure that you can access your servers or can access other servers on the day, and that will need, we'll need to know where servers are located and endpoints recorded, and also any kind of authorization that's needed to be able to access things. So that's all part of the kind of setup in terms of getting active at the event. That would be something we need to share as part of as part of connecting. So there's a few scenarios defined. Now, whilst we have scenarios here, these are really suggestions that may be relevant to you, so it can give you an idea of what to do. We have a data-only, profile-only testing where if you have some data, you can go and test it directly with the servers. So that's just a validation check. So if you do have that kind of content and want to test it, there's some tools to help you do that. We have the AUCore responder tests. So this is a server role where you can actually test using the Inferno testing framework. So that's a framework we have to be able to test AUCore servers automatically. So it goes through the AUCore requirements automatically and lets you validate your coverage and implementation of the requirements of AUCore as a server. And we also, as part of the server kind of maturity development, we are looking at a core healthcare service to as a specific profile that we're really interested in testing this time around. So if you do have an implementation of that, we're really interested to know about it, and we'll be looking at collecting information about interactions with your server and the kind of information that you carry. And we have a scenario that is really a general purpose scenario where people can make arrangements amongst themselves to test the things that they do. So if you have a particular client or a particular server that implements parts of AECore, you might want to find a buddy in the room to test your services out. And we really want to know about that as well, so we can kind of get a handle on how many systems are connecting to each other and the varied kind of types of systems that are can then do that using AU Core. We have on the flip side, we have the AU Core requester tests. This is really similar in the sense that we're trying to just look at it from the client side. So these are pretty much similar, except looking at it more from a client perspective. And so we're interested in what parts of the API you use on your client use and the fact that you can consume AU Core information successfully. There's a set of links there. So there's links to the main track page. The track page has all of these details laid out with links and scenarios there. There's references to a whole bunch of tools and step-by-step guides on how to use them. So that's a really good place to have a look and get all the information. These are just references to the specifications. Oh no, this is references to servers rather. So we've got a test server with data loaded for AU Core. So this is essentially an endpoint you can test against as a client and connect to and do searches, and that's implementing the AU Core 2.0.0 preview data with some sample data in there that you can play with. We also have a reference server for AU Core. That's on the previous approved version, the 1.0.0 version. So if you're kind of looking at the latest or the stable version, we have a server there you can connect to play with. We also do have a terminology server that can do validation and supports terminology use as well. So as well as that, there's an important page which I might hit just to have a look. There is a registration page. This is pretty important to HL7 Australia to get filled out. So if you have a client or a server participating in AU Core or patient summary implementation, we do want to have you listed here, and we'll, that way we can track who was at the event, what systems we're connecting, and it also helps people find your endpoints and any criteria they need to connect to your servers. Or as a client, there might be some chance there to list yourself, and people might be interested in getting your client our application connected to to their server. So yeah, please do fill that in. It's an important record of what happened. So as well as kind of supporting servers, we do have a whole set of information on guidance material on testing and operation. This Some of the other tracks include Smart App Launch, and that might be relevant to you if you're supplying AU core data into those scenarios. And we also have a guide to the Inferno testing tool. So that's a good way to test your server if you kind of want to check it out as well. Um, as well as the servers we have available and test scenarios. We do have a repository of test data. So if you have a server and want to load via test data, there's a good reference set of test data there. That's our kind of go-to consistent definition of test data. So yeah, that might be a good place to start if you want to get some good AU core material into your system or have a guide as to what that might look like. Um, and the examples that are actually in the implementation guide are also included in that test data. So that's a way to get some good sample data. And the test suite, we do have the test suite set up. So this is there's an AU Core test kit that tests AU Core. We are doing an update, so we will have the AU Core 2.0.0 preview version up. It's got the previous version currently, but we will have the version, the R1 and the R2 current versions available. So that'll be a good place to test out your service and connect. Um, so these are questions for you, but basically, yeah, do be prepared. Have a technical set of equipment there that you can use to test and play with. So do bring your laptop, do bring your tools that you normally do your API work with, and do bring your software if you've got implementations of AU Core or want to kind of get started doing that. So hopefully. What would you like to get out of Connectathon? It's, the things that I would be thinking are, maybe gain some knowledge, learn about using AU Core if you haven't done it before, making some good connections with other people with software. So you can get advice, you can talk about how to go about it. You can also hopefully make some good connections if you need to ask questions in the future as well. And hopefully learn about what other people are doing. So you might find that they're doing interesting things that you're interested in as well. And what do you need to be successful? I mean, bring a good attitude and hopefully, talk to each other is the main thing. So I try and make some connections and try and learn and thrive in the environment, hopefully. Um, so I think the only thing I have is breakout sessions. We talked a little bit about these. Um, the breakouts are usually around specific topics. They're not required attendance, so you attend the things that you're interested in. I talked a little bit about all of these, but if you have any specific kind of needs or questions, let me know. But there is a good opportunity there if you are interested in particular topics that you can jump out of the regular connecting track and into these breakouts to kind of have a chat about these particular topics. So I was just going to throw it back. This was meant to be a short meeting of half an hour, so I've made my time, which is good. But yeah, if there's any questions or anything like that, please let me know now. But also you can email me as well if you need to go offline to do that. But I might just throw the floor open and see if there's anyone with any questions. I think most people have seen this or heard this before. Yeah, so hopefully we have a good event. Um, and if there are no questions, I might wind up the meeting. Thanks all. I'll just stay on the line in case anyone has a question, but other than that, thank you very much.